As you may already know, Charlie Kirk has been murdered. The gentleman, who is sharing the screen with me right now, he has been assassinated. He was assassinated in Utah, while championing a freedom of speech rally. I think I may be able to call it that way. But yeah, he was assassinated by another young fellow. Actually, he was 31 years old, and the person who assassinated him is about the age of 22 years old. But just a little background story of Charlie Kirk. He was a right wing, conservative, right? He was a pro-Israeli and pro-Zionist. He was just a young, bright fellow that that upset a lot of people with his opinions on a lot of matter. Now, there are a lot of things that I disagree with him on 100%, especially his pro-Israeli, pro-Zionist stance. I definitely do disagree on him when it comes to that. He was always anti-Palestinian. No matter what ground that you would try to talk to him about the situation in Palestine, he was not having any of the sympathy of like what is going on in Palestine and against the Palestinian kids and whatsoever. So that was one of my biggest problem with him. And and there are a lot of other stuff, like I said, that I agree with him on. And some of the things that I agree with him on was, or is still, the kind of world that the United States and the rest of the Western world is trying to drive us into, where a man can just decide that, oh, I'm a woman today, I'm a woman today, and everybody have to, accept, that, whatever delusion you want to call it, right? Yeah, and they will be forced to, participate in women's sport, you know. He was definitely on the side of not supporting that type of ideology, that type of movement, that type of lifestyle, and that is just one of the things that I agree with him on. Like I said, there are a lot of things that I disagree with him on, and there are also things that I did agree with him on. But the point here is that he was shot because he was murdered. I should say he was murdered because somebody got hurt of him exercising his freedom of speech, right? And this is my problem. You guys keep talking about, oh, we need a freedom. If I want to be gay, it should be my right to be gay. If I want to become a woman, it should be my right. If I want to be a man, it should be my right to be a man. And yet, you took the life of somebody who is exercising their freedom of speech, their right to talk, to express their opinion. This is where I come in problem with. It doesn't matter how much you hate somebody. It doesn't matter how much you guys disagree with one another. Why would you go as far as taking the person's life because you disagree with them on certain things? You know, I'm not blaming anybody else. I'm blaming the West. I'm blaming the United States government, the government of the Western world. You guys have fixed a world today that you guys live in, where there are a lot of people, the young generation that are growing up in those world. They are so sensitive. They are so sensitive. They are so weak-minded. The moment something is said that they don't like, all of a sudden they're either taking their own life or they are taking somebody else's life. This is why you see every day there are people on the street trying to take somebody's life just because they said something that they didn't like, right? I didn't like Charlie Kirk. I have so many things that I can say the only thing that I agree with him on is the right for women to be women and men to be men. His fight or his stand, right? His stance against biological men just deciding that, oh, I'm a woman today and I have to go jump into women's sport and start competing against women like in boxing and swimming and other things, right? That's it's about it. Other than that, there are very, very few things that I agree with him on, right? But at the end of the day, seeing this man get shot in broad daylight, and yet there are people jubilating, celebrating that he got shot. Why? Because he does not agree with your opinion or your way of life? Does everybody have to agree with you or else they should get shot? This is crazy. This is crazy, and this is on you people. You, the people that think that, oh yeah, the children should be children. Let, not just be children. They should do whatever they want to do. They should be whoever they want to be, right? And at the same time, you go ahead and make guns available to anybody that can buy it, right? That is one of the stupidest, laws that you guys have in your country or in your world, where anybody that has money, they can just walk into a store and buy a gun. And Charlie Kirk, right? He was one of those gun activists. He was one of those people that were active, actively being vocal about people having access to gun, right? And this is exactly what we're talking about. This is exactly what we are talking about. I'm not here to bash the man. He's already dead. They took his life. He's already dead. I'm not here to bash him, whatever. I disagree with him on a lot of other stuff, especially his anti-Palestinian stance, his pro-Israeli, Zionist stance. I disagree with him on a lot of those things. And whenever I used to watch him talk against the Palestinians, I used to get furious, 100%. But it never one day ever made me wish death on him. So this is very, very bad. This is very, very bad for the West. You guys think that you're living a very, very comfortable life, but your problem is right in your nose. The kids that you are raising now, they are going to be your problem. You have children, they cannot take criticism. The West cannot take criticism. The moment somebody gets criticized, they get angry, they either take their own life or they take the next person's life. If this man is expressing himself, he's expressing himself for freedom of speech, that yes, everybody should have the right to voice out their opinion. And you are taking his life for voicing out his opinion. What did he say someone that hurt you? What? You talk against lesbianism, gayism, all the other isms? Is that why you're getting angry that so much you want to take you went and took his life? What if somebody take your own life for being those things that, he was speaking against? You took his life because he talked. The world is getting fragile every day. Day by day, the world is getting fragile. And this is crazy. As much as I dislike this fellow, this Kirk guy, he did not deserve to be shot like that, or killed like that, or any other way. He did not deserve to be killed. You can support the Israelis, the Zionists, to continue carrying out the barbaric, acts that they are doing to the Palestinian people. For me, I just believe that all the people that are supporting those Israelis, those Zionists, to continue carrying out the barbaric act that they are carrying out in Palestine, they will face their judgment on the day of judgment when they meet God. The Palestinians are steadfast. They are patient. They stand their ground. They're not going to move. Right? And all the people that trespassing them, they'll all face judgment on the day of judgment. That is my call. I'm not saying that you should go take a gun and start shooting those people, targeting. Like, come on, that is crazy. And the guy who actually did the shooting is not even a Muslim. And I don't even think he's a Christian. All I know is that he is a Caucasian American who showed no type of religious affiliation. According to the records that is being shown from his family side, is that he's a liberal, right? He has been in recent time very political, and he was a liberal. He was a Democrat. So whatever stand that or whatever reason that made him take the life of Charlie Kirk, I guess all the other interviews that they will hold, until his sentencing or maybe even after his sentencing, because this is the United States of America. I don't think they will give him a death sentence. They will give him a lifetime imprisonment sentence, right? Again, it is what it is, man. The world is getting fragile, and this is crazy. It is it's getting crazy that people get angry to the extent that they take people's life because they said something. They shoot people in the neck because they said something. This is crazy, man. This is very, very crazy.